car culture where I'm from is in Oakland. It's always been a hit since I was a little kid. There used to be lowriders, custom paint jobs, candy paint jobs, Vogue tires, Dayton's, just amazing looking pieces of art that would drive down the street and would turn everyone's head. So it's something that I've always been fascinated in. I have family members who've also been interested in cars and actually own some old school Chevy. So yeah, so it's something amazing. And something I really enjoy about this truck is that this in the 70s was really a working man's truck. In Mexico, where my parents are from, everyone would always talk about Chevy Cheyennes, the C10, known as a Cheyenne. You hear them in songs, videos, movies. So it's what the history of the truck itself and what it's done to those people that have really attracted me. And I mean, it's just curvy, unique. It's a really nice cool piece of like history too. So what's special about a truck like this is that there really isn't that many out there left, especially like in the condition that mine is in. That you just look, you see Priuses everywhere, but Priuses are just so like calm and there's like no excitement. You just basically go from A to B. Whereas for this, you actually have a thrill going to A to B. So you enjoy it. It turns a lot of smiles. It makes people who see the truck think back of that era and reminisce their times as when they were youngsters, you know, all that good stuff. So it's something, it's nice. It's just something about driving an old truck. The customization that goes on, the manual labor, the connections that you make with other people just because they've been working on cars too. They might even know like what you've done to it and appreciate you for it. Like it's something that's nice, unique. Everywhere I go, people like smile at me, give me the thumb, say it's a nice truck, compliment it. I mean, I'm guessing those are people who have known people who've owned old cars or even trucks when they barely came out that they can make a connection with. Or know what driving a muscle car is like. So there's definitely, again, like that small community of people who enjoy cars that's created just by owning a vehicle, you know? My godfather he used to own a lowrider. I kind of have flashbacks about it and how it was like a little candy paint blue almost. The hitting the switches, as they call it, making a three-wheel motion. It's stuff like that that's very exciting, very unique, time-consuming, labor, hard, intense labor. I also have one of my other uncles who currently owns a '69 Camaro that he's owned since he was like my age, 19. And he also actually owned a truck like this one while he was owning that Camaro. So it's seeing his car when I was a kid, or their cars, and just being like, wow, like I need to own something like this. I need something that makes noise, that's unique in the streets, that'll grab the attention of everyone, and everyone will, like, you know, hopefully like inspired to one day own a car like this, so that we can even have like more cruises, car gatherings, car shows, circuit racing, drag racing, whatever it is that, you know, people get whatever appeals to their best interest.
Kind of a raw feeling driving it. A lot different than modern cars. Driving it, I mean, there's nothing like close to it. You know, there's nothing as exhilarating as going for a nice fun drive. I don't know, I always think about the first time I drove it, and like I hadn't driven anything fast before I drove this car. I remember taking it for a test drive, and I was so scared to step on the throttle, because I knew like any little amount and, you know, you'd take off. So I drove it real carefully, and then I remember like a week into it, because I bought it for like an hour away from here, and I drove it real carefully all the way home, stayed like 60, 65 on the freeway. And then about a week into it, I got a little bit more comfortable with the power, and then I started going a little wild. It's exhilarating. I mean, it takes a lot of control, and there's nothing really quite like it. I mean, it's like riding a roller coaster, but you're in control, and you could crash the roller coaster. Why this car? And I think I just had a fascination with it ever since I was a little kid. One of my cousin's boyfriend, he had one of these, and he was like 25. He took me on a few rides, and I don't know, I remember being a little kid in the back seat. I couldn't see anything, but I just remember being pushed up against the back of my seat. That was like the first like fast car I've ever been in. I knew I wanted one. I mean, I guess this car, for me, it's kind of like acceptance, sort of. I bought this car, right, about a year after high school. I went through a lot in high school. I didn't necessarily love high school very much. So I started college, and I went for a semester, but it just felt like it was gonna be another 4 years of the same boring day in and day out. So I decided that I didn't want to go to school, and I was going to join the military, but I got denied from the Air Force, so I didn't know what to do for a while. So I just kind of sat around for a couple months and didn't do anything. I didn't really leave the house or do anything. So my mom told me I had to get a job or go back to school. It was one or the other. So I was like, well, I'll just get a job. So I got a job at a grocery store. I was making $10 an hour, and I was part-time, so I wasn't getting the greatest hours. I had just come off of, when I was sitting around the house for a couple months, and I was making some money. So the first thing I thought of was, I'm gonna go buy the car that I want. And I did. I spent a while trying to find the right one. I knew I wanted a coupe. I didn't want a convertible. And I was trying to find one of the newer ones, newer than 2003. And then eventually I found this one. I think I kind of bought it to, just to like get into something, sort of like an escape. I can always come out here, I can wash my car, clean my car, I can work on my car. I joined the car clubs, and it's kind of like, I have people that are into the same thing as me, and we all love the same thing, and we're all helping each other out. And I think that's kind of what this car means to me, is like acceptance, sort of.